The restaurant wasn't loud. That was the problem. It was one of those places my parents liked because it made them feel respectable. Linen napkins, dim lights. A menu that looked expensive even when you ordered safely. We were halfway through dinner when my dad leaned back in his chair, already irritated by something no one else had noticed. He'd been nursing it all night. You could tell by the way his jaw tightened whenever my sister spoke. The way he glanced at me when the check hadn't even come yet. I should have known it was coming. You know what your problem is, he said suddenly, loud enough that the table beside us paused mid-conversation. I didn't answer, I kept eating. You're selfish, he said, pointing at me like the word needed direction. Your sister actually brings value to this family. The room went still, not dramatic still. Just aware. My sister froze with her fork halfway to her mouth. My mom inhaled sharply, already preparing to manage whatever fallout came next. I felt the familiar pressure rise in my chest, the instinct to explain, to list, to justify. And then it passed. I laughed. Not a big laugh. Just a short breath through my nose, the kind you let out when something finally makes sense. I took a sip of water and said, calmly, cool. She can cover her own $1,800 rent. My dad's fork slipped and clattered against his plate. My sister coughed hard, eyes watering. My mom leaned forward immediately, hands raised like she could physically grab the moment and push it back where it came from. Let's not do this, she said quickly. This isn't the place. I nodded. Agreed. That's all I said. For years, my contribution had lived in the background. I was the quiet one who had it together. The one who didn't need help, so naturally became the help. When my sister couldn't make rent, it was temporary. When she needed a little more time, it was complicated. When she needed furniture, groceries, a buffer month, someone would look at me like the answer had already been spoken. I paid because it was easier than saying no. Because being useful felt close enough to being valued. Apparently, it wasn't. Dinner ended awkwardly. No one mentioned the outburst again, but everyone moved differently after it, like the table had shifted a few inches and no one trusted their footing. My dad avoided my eyes. My mom overcompensated, asking if I wanted dessert. My sister stayed quiet, staring at her plate. I didn't linger. I paid my portion and stood up. Drive safe, I said, and left. That night, I lay awake longer than usual, replaying the moment, not the accusation, but my response. The calm surprised me. I waited for guilt to show up, for doubt to creep in and tell me I'd gone too far. Instead, I felt done. The next morning, I opened my banking app and looked at the standing transfer labeled simply rent. I'd set it up years ago when my sister moved into her first apartment. She'd said she'd only need help for a couple months. I canceled it. I didn't text her. I didn't warn my parents. I didn't explain myself in advance so no one could talk me out of it. The silence lasted 3 days. Then my mom called. Hey, she said carefully, like someone approaching a wild animal. Your sister's payment didn't go through. I know, I said. A pause. Did something happen? I thought about the word value. About how it had been used like a weapon, like a ranking system I'd never agreed to participate in. I'm no longer covering it, I said. She sighed, already exhausted. She can't afford it on her own. That doesn't make it mine. My dad took the phone then. His voice was controlled, which meant he was angry. You embarrassed us, he said. And now you're punishing her. I didn't embarrass anyone, I replied. I clarified. You're acting like money is all that matters. No, I said. You are. You're the one who tied my worth to what I provide. He didn't respond immediately. When he did, it was softer. Families help each other. They do, I agreed. They don't measure value out loud at dinner. After that, the conversations changed. There were more calls, some pleading, some frustration. My sister texted once, short, defensive, hurt. I didn't argue with her. I didn't lecture. I love you, I wrote back. But I'm not your plan. She didn't respond. The lease came due the following month. I heard through my mom that my sister had to take on a roommate. That she was stressed. That things were tight. No one apologized. Not really. But no one called me selfish again either. At the next family gathering, the dynamic was different. Quieter, less confident. My dad watched what he said. My mom hovered. Uncertain. My sister avoided the topic entirely. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt steady. There's a difference between being generous and being convenient. I'd confused the two for a long time. That dinner didn't change who my family was. But it finally changed who I was willing to be to them. And when I left that night, I realized something important: losing their approval hurt less than losing myself had. So I stopped doing that.